The sun rose gently over the city of Solara, casting long shadows on the glass towers that shimmered like diamonds. The air was crisp, and the city hummed with life. People moved to their work. Children laughed on their way to schools, and delivery drones buzzed quietly above the streets. Solara was one of Earth's most advanced cities, a symbol of human progress, where technology and compassion coexisted. At the heart of the city, tucked between two soaring towers, stood the Orphanage of New Hope. It was a modest building, made of warm stones and bright glass windows. Despite its small size, it held hundreds of children from every corner of the world. Wars, disasters, and accidents had left them alone, but here they found safety, care, and family. Lyra, a young scientist of 28, walked briskly down the hall of the orphanage. Her long brown hair was tied neatly, and her sharp eyes glimmered with focus. She had not only dedicated her life to science, but also to caring for children. Though she had no official role in the orphanage, she treated every child as her own. "Good morning, Kai," she called, spotting a small boy struggling to tie his shoes. Kai looked up, his face brightening. "Morning, Lyra. Can you help me?" Lyra crouched down, tying his shoes with practiced speed. "There you go. Now, off to breakfast. Don't want you late for your lessons." Around her, children played, ran, and shouted in joy. The orphanage was alive with warmth, laughter, and hope, a stark contrast to the cold, distant world outside. Some of the older children were reading books about stars, planets, and machines. Others were drawing, painting, or building small robots from kits Lyra had given them. She had a small lab in the orphanage where curious minds learned, explored, created. Despite the peaceful morning, Lyra could not shake a strange unease. The satellite alert system in her apartment, designed for defense purposes, had beeped faintly, signaling an unidentified object in low orbit. She had checked it quickly but dismissed it as a minor error. Earth's skies were crowded, and small anomalies happened all the time. She paused by the window and looked up. A small streak of light moved slowly against the blue sky, almost invisible. She frowned. Something about it felt deliberate. Shaking her head, she focused on the children. It's probably nothing. Better not to worry them. At breakfast, the children chattered about their lessons, favorite games, and dreams. Some wanted to be pilots, others doctors, some engineers or explorers. They all laughed freely, unaware of the dangers slowly approaching them. Lyra served food with a careful hand, making sure each child got enough to eat. She noticed a few of the older children sneaking small robots under the table, trying to surprise each other. A smile tugged at her lips. These moments of innocence were precious. After breakfast, the children split into different activity groups. Lyra led a group of young minds into her lab. Today's lesson was on gravity manipulation, a basic but fascinating concept. Small spheres hovered midair, spinning slowly as the children giggled in delight. "Remember," she said, her voice calm but firm, "science is about curiosity, but also about responsibility. Every action has a result." The children nodded eagerly, their eyes shining with understanding. Meanwhile, beyond the city's atmosphere, distant alien ships drifted silently in the void. Their sleek black hulls absorbed the faint light of the sun, rendering them almost invisible. To human eyes, they were nothing more than distant specks. But these ships were not peaceful. Their mission was precise, cold, and merciless. Back on Earth, the day continued peacefully. Traffic moved smoothly, holographic ads flashed messages of hope and prosperity, and children ran through parks, their laughter echoing in the city streets. Humanity had rebuilt after a brief but devastating interstellar war. Earth's cities were protected by advanced shields and fleets. But the memory of loss still lingered. Lyra finished the morning lesson and watched as the children ran out to play in the courtyard. She allowed herself a brief moment of pride and relief. Humanity, despite its mistakes and conflicts, had survived and thrived. Even these small humans, these children, were proof that life could flourish. Her moment was interrupted by a sudden alarm deep. It's a resonant warning that shook the building. Ilara's heart leaped into her throat. She dashed to the control panel in the lab, fingers flying over the holographic interface. Unidentified fleet entering Earth's atmosphere. The system announced in a calm, mechanical voice. Ilara froze. She had been worried, but not like this. She activated the telescope system and saw them dozens of ships, dark and ominous, moving swiftly toward Solara. They did not resemble anything Earth had encountered before. No markings, no signs of diplomacy. Only purpose. Only destruction. Her first thought was disbelief. No, it can't be. But deep down, a part of her already knew. Humans were about to face something they had not yet seen. She ran to the children's courtyard. Children. Inside. Now. Her voice was sharp, but controlled. Panic had spread like wildfire, and she needed to keep them calm. The children hesitated, confused. "What's happening, Ilara?" one of them asked, eyes wide. "No time to explain," she said, taking Kai's hand. "Trust me. Inside." Quickly. Inside, the staff tried to organize the children, moving them to secure rooms equipped with emergency protocols. Ilara's mind raced. She knew the city's shields could not stop a full-scale strike, but she had a plan at least to protect the children for as long as possible. From the sky, a sudden flash lit the horizon. The first explosion tore through the air like a thunderclap. Concrete and glass shattered in distant parts of the city. The orphanage shook violently. Dust filled the air, and screams rose in a chaotic chorus. Ilara held Kai and a few younger children close, shielding them with her body. She could hear older children sobbing, staff shouting instructions, and the faint hum of the alien ships hovering above. Through the emergency monitors, she saw the full scale of the attack. Alien energy beams struck with precision, demolishing buildings and infrastructure. This was not a random strike. It was a calculated attack on human civilization. Her heart pounded. This is war," she whispered. "They're here to destroy us." As alarms rang and fire spread, Ilara's mind worked rapidly. She coordinated with other staff, moving children to hidden bunkers beneath the building. The orphanage, her sanctuary, was under siege. But she refused to let fear control her. Minutes felt like hours. Smoke filled the halls, making breathing difficult. Outside, screams and explosions created a deafening symphony of chaos. Yet, within the underground bunkers, Ilara held the children close, telling stories, singing songs, anything to keep their spirits alive. Some of the older children, despite fear, tried to help. They brought water, blankets, and tried to comfort the younger ones. Ilara saw strength in them, even amidst terror. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the first wave of attacks ended. Smoke and dust hung heavily in the air. The orphanage was scarred, parts of it destroyed, but the children were alive. Ilara emerged cautiously from the bunker, her face streaked with soot and tears. Around her, the city lay in chaos, but humans were beginning to gather, ready to fight back. She knew this was just the beginning. The alien ships remained in orbit, silent and watchful. Humanity's enemies had announced their presence, and in that moment, Ilara realized one truth. Earth would never be the same again. As she held the children close, whispering words of reassurance, she made a silent vow. They may have attacked us first. They may have destroyed our homes. But humanity would rise, and we would show them our strength. The calm of Solara was gone. The storm had arrived. Smoke still lingered over the city of Solara, curling like restless ghosts among shattered buildings and cracked streets. The sun, once bright, now struggled through thick clouds of dust. The orphanage, once warm and lively, was now a scarred shell. Broken windows reflected the chaos outside, and the cries of frightened children echoed through the halls. Ilara emerged cautiously from the underground bunker. Her clothes were singed, and her face was streaked with soot, but her eyes burned with determination. She held Kai close, whispering calming words to the little boy who clung to her. Around them, other children were slowly regrouping. guided by brave staff who had risked their lives to protect them. The city was in chaos. Alien ships hovered above, silent and black, their energy weapons poised and ready. They moved with precision, targeting critical structures and defense stations. The attack was not random, it was deliberate, calculated. Humanity had never faced anything like this before. Lyra knew they had to move. "Children, stay close. Keep your heads down," she said firmly. She led the group through the back corridors of the orphanage, careful to avoid areas damaged by explosions. Every step was tense, every sound a potential threat. Kai's small hand trembled in hers. "Lyra, are they going to hurt us?" he whispered. Lyra tightened her grip. "We will protect you. I promise. Just stay with me, okay?" Above them, one of the alien ships fired a pulse that struck a nearby tower. The building shuddered, glass raining down, and a deafening roar followed. Lyra shielded the children instinctively, guiding them toward a hidden service exit she had memorized. Outside, the streets were unrecognizable. Vehicles were overturned, fires burned uncontrolled, and smoke created a gray fog that made the city feel unreal. Humans were running in every direction trying to survive. Emergency sirens wailed, but even they seemed weak against the alien attack. Lyra led the children to a secure transport vehicle, a small, armored shuttle, usually used for emergency evacuations. She had modified it herself, adding protective shields and stealth technology. It was the only way to get the children to a safe location outside the city as they prepared to leave. A group of soldiers appeared, moving quickly through the debris. Their uniforms were scorched in some places, but their eyes were fierce. "Ma'am, we're here to help," one of them said. His voice was steady despite the chaos. "We're evacuating civilians to safe zones. We can take these children with us." Lyra nodded, relief washing over her briefly. "Thank you. We can't stay here." She led the children into the shuttle, keeping them calm. Many were crying or trembling, but her steady presence helped them regain some sense of security. The shuttle lifted off, weaving through smoke and debris. From above, the city looked like a battlefield. Alien beams struck relentlessly, tearing through structures with ease. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. Humanity had been caught completely off guard. Through the shuttle's display screens, she watched reports come in from other parts of Earth. Major cities were under attack. Defense satellites were being disabled, and fleets sent to intercept the aliens were struggling. The scale of destruction was enormous. This isn't just a raid," Lyra muttered under her breath. "They want to destroy us completely." The soldiers spoke in low tones, discussing strategies. Their experience was clear. They had trained for conflict, but nothing like this. The aliens were not only technologically advanced, but their tactics were unlike anything humans had encountered. They struck swiftly, avoided direct confrontation, and prioritized civilian targets. Lyra's mind raced. If the aliens were targeting orphanages and other vulnerable locations first, it was clear they wanted to break humanity's spirit, to make survival seem impossible. She clenched her fists. Humans might be unprepared, but they were not weak. Not yet. The shuttle landed at a temporary safe zone, a fortified compound outside the city. Soldiers guided the children inside. Though the place was crowded and chaotic, it was safer than Solara. Fires were visible on the horizon, but no beams struck here. Lyra sat with Kai, watching the other children. Many were still silent, shocked by what they had witnessed. Some clutched small toys or personal belongings salvaged from the wreckage. Others stared blankly, unable to comprehend the destruction around them. A senior officer approached her. "We're trying to contact Earth's leaders. They're convening an emergency council. They need to understand the scope of this attack." Lyra nodded. "I understand. But what about Solara? What about the orphanage?" Her voice broke slightly. "Many didn't survive." The officer looked away, pain flashing in his eyes. "We're doing everything we can. But this is bigger than any one city. Humanity needs to act together." Lyra swallowed hard. She could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on her. She had survived, and so had these children, but so many others had not. And the aliens. They would not stop until Earth was under their control. Later, as the sun dipped behind the smoke-filled horizon, Alara wandered the compound, checking on the children. Some had begun to draw pictures of their homes, of skies, of spaceships, even of heroes. She knelt beside one child, a girl named Lyra, who was sketching a spacecraft with bold lines. "They're strong," Lyra said softly. "But we can be strong too, right?" Alara smiled, her heart swelling. "Yes, Lyra, humans are strong, and we will fight. We will protect our world." That night she could not sleep. The children had finally quieted down, but the sounds of distant explosions and sirens haunted the air. Alara sat in a small observation tower, scanning the skies. Alien ships were still in orbit, black and silent, but their intentions were clear. They had underestimated humans once. They would not make that mistake again. She thought about Earth's leaders, scientists, and soldiers. All would need to come together. Technology alone would not be enough. Strategy, courage, and unpredictability would become humanity's greatest weapons. And she, Alara, would do everything she could to ensure the survival of these children, and of humanity itself. A sudden alert flashed on her monitor. New ships were approaching the compound's mauler, faster, almost invisible to the naked eye. Alara's pulse quickened. The aliens were relentless. They would not rest until every human stronghold was destroyed. She ran to the main hall, gathering the children and staff. "Listen to me carefully," she said, her voice strong. "We are not helpless. We have a plan. We will move to a deeper safe zone, and we will stay together. Trust me, and do exactly what I say." The children nodded, some bravely, some with tears streaming down their faces. They trusted her. And that trust, fragile but powerful, gave Alara strength she hadn't known she possessed. As the convoy prepared to leave, soldiers checked weapons, engines roared, and the ground shook beneath the compound. The first of the smaller alien ships appeared, firing energy pulses that tore through the perimeter. Alara grabbed Kai and pulled him into cover, shielding him from the blast. Despite the danger, she could see something remarkable. Humans were fighting back, even in fear. Staff and soldiers were using whatever tools they had: makeshift barricades, improvised energy shields, even simple, clever traps. The aliens were powerful, but humans were unpredictable. And unpredictability was a weapon the aliens had not accounted for. Alara climbed into the lead vehicle, taking control of navigation. The convoy moved swiftly through hidden paths and tunnels, evading the alien ships as best as they could. Sparks flew as energy beams struck near them, but the humans pressed on. Hours later, the convoy reached the secondary safe zone, hidden deep within a forested valley. Here, humans could regroup, treat the wounded, and plan. Children were fed, comforted, and given space to rest. Alara finally allowed herself to breathe. Though her mind never stopped racing, she looked out at the horizon, where smoke still rose from Solara. Entire cities had been struck, but humanity had survived. The orphanage may have been scarred, lives may have been lost, but the spirit of survival remained. Alara whispered to herself, a vow carried on the wind. They may have attacked first, but we will fight back. We will survive. We are human, and we will never surrender. The night was dark, but stars shone above, distant, yet constant. Humanity's journey into war had begun. And though the path ahead was dangerous and uncertain, Alara knew one thing for certain: humans would not go quietly. They would rise, and the universe would see what Earth's children were capable of when pushed to the edge. The forested valley where the secondary safe zone lay was quiet compared to the chaos in Solara, but the calm was deceptive. Humans were regrouping, assessing damage, preparing for what everyone knew was inevitable. The alien fleet would strike again. Alara moved swiftly, between tents and makeshift command centers. Children were fed, cleaned, and kept under watchful eyes, while soldiers, engineers, and scientists worked tirelessly to repair equipment, coordinate communication, and plan countermeasures. The valley had become a hub of determination, a place where survival meant action. She stopped at a large, holographic map that displayed the locations of cities under attack. Red markers blazed across the screen, each representing a strike by the alien fleet. Entire populations had been displaced. The scale of destruction was terrifying. Yet what struck Lyra most was the resilience of the humans. They were already planning, already fighting back. A group of engineers approached her, carrying portable energy shields and makeshift drones. Lyra, one of them said, "We've modified the drones to act as decoys. They can distract alien sensors for a short time, giving us an opening to strike vulnerable points." Lyra studied the designs quickly, nodding. "Excellent. We need every advantage. Prepare the drones for deployment tonight. We can't rely on conventional defenses alone." Humans had learned quickly. They were outgunned in terms of raw technology. But they were clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. Every disadvantage became an opportunity to innovate. Later that evening, the valley's lights dimmed as the human forces prepared their first counterattack. Soldiers manned armored vehicles, engineers checked weapons, and Lyra joined a small group of scientists in a mobile lab. They were designing precision energy disruptors, tools to interfere with alien targeting systems. Kai and the other children huddled in safe shelters, unaware of the full scope of danger, but aware enough to feel tension in the air. Lyra, the girl who had drawn the spacecraft days earlier, peeked into the lab. "Are you going to make them leave?" she asked softly. Lyra crouched to meet her gaze. "We're going to make them think twice before hurting humans again. You and all the children will be safe. That's a promise." Lyra nodded, and Lyra felt a surge of determination. Humanity was not only fighting to survive, they were fighting to protect everything they loved. Night fell, and with it came the first signs of the alien fleet. Smaller ships darted between the treetops, scanning for human movement. They were fast, almost invisible against the dark sky. But humans had prepared. Lyra's team deployed the drones, which floated silently, glowing faintly as they emitted signals to confuse alien sensors. The effect was immediate. Alien ships paused, adjusted, and fired at the decoys, allowing human strike teams to move into positions. From her station, Lyra guided an armored squad toward a small alien outpost on the valley's edge. The outpost controlled part of the alien sensor network, and disabling it would give humanity a critical advantage. The humans moved with precision. Soldiers ducked behind trees and rocks, using the terrain to their advantage. Energy disruptors jammed alien communications in bursts, creating chaos in the ranks. Lyra watched the progress with focused intensity. The aliens were powerful, but humans were clever. Every maneuver, every unexpected tactic, showed that humans could not be easily predicted. And unpredictability was a weapon the aliens had not accounted for. Suddenly, a larger alien ship appeared above the valley, releasing energy pulses that struck the ground with devastating force. Trees splintered, rocks shattered, and the humans were forced to take cover. Lyra's heart raced. "Keep moving. Stick to the plan," she shouted into her communicator. Soldiers adjusted their positions, using portable shields to block energy blasts. The drones continued to act as decoys, drawing fire away from the main team. Minutes felt like hours. The alien ship fired again and again, but the humans pressed on. Finally, the strike team reached the outpost. Lyra activated the energy disruptor, sending a pulse that scrambled alien sensors in the area. The outpost's control systems faltered. Giving the humans a momentary advantage, the team moved quickly, planting small devices to disable the outpost permanently. Explosions rocked the structure, but the humans emerged unharmed. Thanks to careful planning and quick thinking, back in the valley, Lyra allowed herself a small breath of relief. The first success was a small victory, but it was enough to inspire hope. Humanity had struck back, and they had done it with intelligence, courage, and determination. The next day, the valley buzzed with activity. Human forces were reorganizing, repairing damaged equipment, and preparing for further strikes. Lyra worked tirelessly, coordinating strategies, designing new tools, and training volunteers. Every person had a role, and every role mattered. She visited the children and the safe shelters. Many were drawing pictures of humans fighting aliens, of brave soldiers and scientists protecting the planet. Their innocence remained, even amidst fear. Kai ran up to her, holding a small toy spaceship. "Alara, when we fight, we can fly like this," he said, eyes wide with hope. Alara smiled, ruffling his hair. "Yes, Kai, we will fight, and we will win. But first, we have to be smart." As the day progressed, news arrived from other regions. Humans had begun coordinated strikes across multiple cities. Small victories were being reported, alien ships disabled, supply lines disrupted, and civilians rescued. Humanity was learning quickly. They adapted, improvised, and persevered. Alara realized that this war was different. It was not just about strength or weapons. It was about creativity, courage, and resilience. Humans were unpredictable, and unpredictability gave them power. That night, she stayed up late in the lab working on new energy disruptors and shield enhancements. Maps of alien movements covered the walls, filled with notes, predictions, and strategies. Every detail mattered. Every decision could save lives. Through the window, she saw the stars. They were calm, distant, and beautiful and aware of the chaos below. Alara thought of humanity, fragile but unbroken, standing against an enemy that seemed unstoppable. A sudden alert interrupted her thoughts. Alien scouts were approaching the valley again, faster this time, and more numerous. Alara's pulse quickened, but she did not panic. She activated the shields, alerted the strike teams, and prepared the drones. The attack began. Alien energy pulses lit the night sky, hitting trees and rocks with explosive force. Humans responded with precision, using terrain, shields, and disruptors to counter every strike. Every move was calculated. Every action mattered. Amid the chaos, Alara saw acts of bravery everywhere. A young soldier shielded a group of volunteers from a blast. Engineers risked their lives to repair a damaged weapon mid-battle. Children, though safely inside, watched and learned. Their faces filled with awe and admiration. Hours later, alien ships retreated, leaving the valley battered but intact. Humans had survived, and they had struck back with skill and courage. Alara gathered her team, exhausted but determined. "This is only the beginning," she said. "They will return, and we must be ready." But today, we proved something important. Humans will not surrender. We will fight, and we will find a way to protect everyone we care about. The valley was quiet again, but the resolve of humanity was stronger than ever. For the first time since the attacks began, hope glimmered among the survivors. Alara looked at the children, at the soldiers, at the scientists, and felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had been pushed to the edge, but they had not broken. They had learned, adapted, and survived, and in that moment, she knew something crucial. Humans were not just survivors, they were fighters. Creative, brave, unpredictable fighters who would never give up, no matter the enemy. The war had begun in earnest, but humanity had found its first spark of victory. And with that spark, they would build a fire that no alien force could extinguish. The sun rose over the valley with a harsh orange glow, painting the trees in tints and streaks of fire-like light. Humanity's secondary safe zone had become a hive of activity. Soldiers moved with purpose, engineers fine-tuned weapons, scientists worked tirelessly to devise strategies against the alien fleet. The attacks had grown relentless, and humans had realized one truth. Survival required total commitment. Alara moved through the command center, reviewing reports from other human strongholds. Cities had been devastated, supply lines were stretched thin, and alien strikes were intensifying. The full weight of the conflict pressed down on every decision. Humanity could no longer fight piecemeal. They had to mobilize everything they had. "Total war," she whispered to herself, repeating the phrase until it felt real. Every citizen, every resource, every scientist, every soldier would be part of this fight. It was the only way to survive. She approached General Kor, a tall, stern man whose uniform was smudged with dirt and sweat. His face was etched with lines of worry and determination. "Lyra," he said, "we've called an emergency council. We need your expertise. We're preparing coordinated strikes across multiple sectors. Can you help?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, General. We need to use every advantage humans have: creativity, unpredictability, and speed. Technology alone won't win this war." The council convened in a reinforced chamber beneath the valley. Holographic displays showed Earth's cities, alien movements, and vulnerable points in the enemy fleet. Leaders, scientists, and soldiers debated strategies, sometimes heatedly. Fear was present, but determination burned brighter. Lyra presented her plan. "We strike in multiple locations simultaneously," she said. "We deploy drones as decoys, disrupt alien communication, and use our knowledge of terrain and resources to our advantage. We must force them to divide their forces. Their strength is precision. Our strength is unpredictability." The council listened, nodding. General Kor spoke next. "Lyra's plan is bold. It requires coordination, courage, and sacrifice. But it may be the only way to turn the tide. Humanity will mobilize completely. This is total war. No city, no factory, no human is exempt. We fight with everything we have." The decision was made. Humanity's war effort expanded beyond defense, became an all-out campaign. Factories worked day and night producing weapons. Scientists developed energy disruptors, stealth drones, and portable shields. Soldiers trained relentlessly, and volunteers joined efforts to repair infrastructure and assist in logistics. Lyra returned to her lab, her hands already moving over schematics and blueprints. She felt a mixture of exhaustion and purpose. Every moment counted. Every innovation mattered. The alien fleet had underestimated humans once. They would not make the same mistake twice. The first coordinated strike began at dusk. Alien sensors had been disrupted, allowing human fleets to approach key positions with a higher chance of success. Human pilots, engineers, and soldiers moved like a single organism. Each action calculated yet adaptable. Lyra watched the battle unfold on holographic monitors. Energy beams cut through the night sky, fires ignited on alien ships, drones floated in patterns that confused the enemy. Humans were not simply defending, they were attacking, striking unpredictably, and demonstrating that intelligence and ingenuity were powerful weapons. From her station, Lyra coordinated a mission to disable an alien command ship orbiting a nearby city. This ship controlled smaller vessels and relayed instructions for the alien fleet. Destroying it would give humanity a critical advantage. The team preparing for the mission included the best pilots, engineers, and soldiers available. Lyra joined them, overseeing last-minute calculations and ensuring every device functioned correctly. Kai and the other children watched from the safe zone. Some were drawing pictures of the battle, trying to make sense of the chaos. Lyra approached Lyra with a small, determined face. "You're going to stop them, right?" Lyra crouched to meet her gaze. "We are going to fight smart. We may not win every battle, but we will keep trying. And we will protect humans wherever we can. That is the most important thing." The mission launched at nightfall. Human ships moved through shadows, their engines muted to avoid detection. Drones led the way, creating false signals that drew alien ships off course. Energy disruptors jammed enemy communications, and human pilots used sudden, unpredictable maneuvers to gain the advantage. Lyra's pulse raced as she monitored the operation. The alien command ship fired back, sending powerful beams that tore through space. Human shields flared under the strain, sparks flying from overloaded circuits. Yet the humans pressed on. Every calculation, every maneuver, every act of courage mattered. Finally, the strike team reached the command ship. Lyra activated the disruptors, sending a pulse that disabled the ship's targeting systems and communication links. The humans moved in quickly, planting devices that would permanently disable the vessel. Explosions rocked the ship, but the human team emerged unharmed. Back at the safe zone, cheers erupted. Humans had achieved a major victory, not just through firepower, but through ingenuity, strategy, and teamwork. The alien fleet, now partially blinded and disorganized, began retreating from some areas. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. Humanity expanded the total war effort. Factories produced more advanced drones, energy shields, and weapons. Cities worked together, sharing resources, intelligence, and strategies. Every human had a role. Some fought directly, others supported, and all contributed to the larger goal: survival. Lyra continued her work, moving from battlefield coordination to engineering, often skipping meals or sleep. Her dedication inspired others. Soldiers respected her, children looked up to her, and fellow scientists relied on her skill and courage. One evening, after another day of relentless preparation and skirmishes, Lyra took a moment to breathe. She watched the children, safe for now, and thought about what humanity had accomplished. Despite being attacked, terrified, and outmatched in some ways, humans had learned to adapt, to innovate, and to fight together. She thought about the orphanage, the loss they had suffered, and the resilience that had emerged from tragedy. Humans had taken the first blows, felt the pain of loss, and turned it into strength. That strength was the reason they could fight back now. Suddenly, an alert flashed across her monitor. A larger alien force was approaching from a distant orbit. They were regrouping, stronger than before, and intent on crushing humanity's resistance. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "They think they can intimidate us," she muttered. "But we've learned, and we will not back down." She called a meeting of leaders and scientists. "This is the moment where we show what humans are capable of," she said. "They may have power, but we have creativity, courage, and determination. Every person on Earth is part of this fight. We must strike decisively, coordinate fully, and defend everything we care about. Total war is not just strategy, it is our will, our spirit, and our refusal to surrender." The humans prepared for the next assault with renewed determination. Every ship, drone, weapon, and human mind was focused on one goal: survival and victory. They were no longer reacting. They were planning, striking, shaping the battlefield. Lyra led a mission personally to intercept alien reinforcements near a critical supply line. Her small fleet moved quickly using stealth technology and calculated maneuvers. Alien ships detected them and fired, but human unpredictability allowed them to evade the attacks. The battle was fierce. Energy beams streaked across space, explosions rocked the ships, and every second mattered. Lyra's team executed coordinated strikes, using knowledge of alien behavior and tactics to their advantage. Every move was precise, yet flexible. Finally, the alien reinforcements were neutralized, their fleet scattered. Humanity had proven that, even against superior technology, determination, intelligence, and courage could turn the tide. Lyra returned to the safe zone, exhausted but resolute. She watched the night sky, dotted with distant stars, and felt a deep sense of pride. Humans had taken the first real steps in the total war effort. They had learned, adapted, survived, and they would continue to fight. Because humans were not just survivors, they were clever, brave, and unyielding. They would not surrender. They would defend their planet, their families, and their future, no matter the cost. The war was far from over. The alien fleet remained a threat, powerful and determined. But humanity had shown its strength: unity, intelligence, courage, and the will to survive. And that strength would grow, spreading across every city, every battlefield, every human heart. Lyra looked at the children, sleeping safely in their shelters, and whispered a vow: "We will protect you. We will fight. And we will win. Humanity will never fall." The stars shone above, calm and eternal. But below, on Earth, humans had become a force that no enemy could ignore. The sky over Earth was heavy with smoke, streaked with flashes of energy from distant battles. Humanity had endured countless attacks, lost countless lives, but the spirit of resistance burned brighter than ever. Cities that had once fallen to alien strikes were being reclaimed. Survivors were joining the fight wherever they could. Lyra, stood on a ridge overlooking a battered city near the equator. The ground below was scarred with craters and rubble, but humans moved through it with determination. Engineers repaired damaged infrastructure, medics treated the wounded, and soldiers patrolled the streets with alert eyes. Humanity had learned the art of survival, and now they were taking the fight to the enemy. Beside her, Kai clutched a small robot he had helped build. "Will it be over soon?" he asked, his young voice tinged with hope and exhaustion. Ilara smiled gently, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Soon, Kai. Soon. But remember, we win because we fight together, because we never give up." The alien fleet, though powerful, was weakening. Human ingenuity had turned the tide in unexpected ways. Energy disruptors, stealth drones, and unpredictable tactics had crippled supply lines and communication networks. Alien ships now moved cautiously, aware that humans were no longer naive or passive. In the command center beneath the ridge, Lara and General Kor studied reports from across the globe. Holographic maps displayed cities where humans were reclaiming ground. Alien vessels disabled and civilian populations rescued. Every report was a testament to human courage and cleverness. "We forced them to retreat in some sectors," General Kor said, his voice grim but proud. "But the command ship near the northern continent remains operational. It coordinates the remaining fleet. If we destroy it, we can finally end this war." Lara nodded, her eyes sharp. "Then we prepare for the final mission. We strike together with everything we have. Humans have learned to fight smarter, faster, and more creatively. We will not fail." That night, the skies were alive with activity. Human fleets moved in formation, every ship, drone, and fighter positioned for the decisive strike. Ilara oversaw the mission from the lead command ship, coordinating teams and monitoring alien movements. Her mind raced with calculations, strategies, contingencies. Kai and the other children, safe in the valley, watched holographic projections of the battle. Some drew pictures of the brave humans fighting above. Lyra whispered, "They are protecting us, Ilara. They will win." Lyra's heart swelled. Humanity had turned fear into strength, loss into determination, and chaos into strategy. They had fought not just with weapons, but with courage, intelligence, and unity. The fleet approached the alien command ship. Its massive hull reflected the distant light of Earth, black and imposing. Alien energy shields glowed faintly, and smaller ships patrolled the area. The humans moved swiftly, using stealth, misdirection, and rapid maneuvers to gain the upper hand. Ilara activated the energy disruptors. Pulses of interference radiated outward, scrambling alien sensors and communications. Smaller ships hesitated, unsure where to fire. The humans struck with precision, disabling defensive satellites and cutting off reinforcements. The battle raged. Energy beams lit the void, explosions rocked alien hulls. Human pilots executed daring maneuvers that no alien could predict. Each strike, each calculated risk, weakened the enemy. Humanity's adaptability had become its greatest weapon. Ilara coordinated the final approach. "All teams focus on the command ship's core," she instructed. "We disable it, and the fleet falls. Stay sharp, move fast, and protect each other." The strike teams advanced, evading energy blasts and debris. Engineers on the command ship deployed boarding drones to sabotage systems from within. Soldiers prepared for close combat if needed. Every action was synchronized, every human contributing to the effort. The command ship fired one last desperate wave of energy, but human shields held. Ilara's pulse quickened as she initiated the final disruptor sequence. A brilliant pulse radiated from the lead vessel, striking the command ship's core. Systems failed, energy shields collapsed, and the alien fleet faltered. Explosions rocked the command ship, sending fragments drifting through space. The remaining alien vessels, leaderless and disoriented, began retreating. Humanity had won. A cheer erupted across the human fleet. Ships saluted one another, pilots shouted in joy, and Ilara allowed herself a moment to breathe. The battle was over. Earth had survived, and humanity had prevailed. Back in the valley, children and adults alike celebrated cautiously. Fires were lit, songs were sung, and laughter slowly returned. The sense of hopelessness that had haunted humanity for weeks was replaced by pride and relief. Humanity had faced annihilation and emerged stronger. Alara returned to the children. Kai ran to her, hugging her tightly. "We did it," he exclaimed, tears of joy on his cheeks. "Yes, Kai," Alara said softly, holding him close. "We did it. Humans never give up. We survive, we fight, and we protect what we love." The survivors of the orphanage, though scarred by loss, were symbols of resilience. They had witnessed the worst, yet they had endured. Their courage inspired those around them, proving that even the youngest humans could embody strength and hope. Alara walked among them, smiling at drawings, toys, and small robots built to help in the war effort. Humanity's creativity and courage had been key to survival, and it would guide them in rebuilding. As the days passed, humans began reconstruction. Cities were repaired, resources redistributed, and families reunited. Humanity had not only survived an attack meant to destroy them, but they had also learned to work together in ways that had never been imagined before. Alara stood once more on the ridge, looking at the horizon. The alien threat had retreated, but the universe remained vast and full of unknown dangers. Earth had proven its strength, but vigilance would always be necessary. She thought of the children, the soldiers, the scientists, and every human who had fought. Each had contributed, each had endured. Humanity's victory was not due to a single hero, but to every person who refused to surrender. Kai climbed beside her, holding a small drawing of the battle fleet. "We can protect Earth now, right?" he asked. Alara nodded, smiling. "Yes, Kai. Humanity can protect Earth, and we will. Together, we are strong. We are clever. We are unstoppable when we work as one." The sun rose higher, casting light on a planet scarred but alive. Humanity had faced the edge of destruction and discovered something powerful: their ingenuity. Courage and unity were stronger than any enemy in the coming years. Humans would continue to explore, to innovate, and to protect their home. They would remember the cost of war, the bravery of those who had fought, and the strength that had allowed them to prevail. Alara watched as children played safely, as scientists rebuilt, and as soldiers trained to defend Earth against any future threat. A sense of hope and determination filled her heart. Humanity had been tested and they had risen to the challenge. She whispered to herself, a vow carried on the wind: no matter the enemy, no matter the darkness, humanity will endure. We will protect our planet, our people, and our future. We will never surrender. The stars above twinkled, calm and eternal, but below on Earth, humanity had become a force that no one would underestimate. They were survivors, fighters, and guardians of their home. They had endured loss, faced fear, and transformed despair into triumph. And as long as humans remained united, intelligent and brave, no force in the universe could ever destroy them. The war had ended, but humanity's journey had only begun. The planet was alive again, full of hope, resilience, and the promise of a future built on courage, unity, and determination. Earth's children, once orphans of tragedy, now symbolized the triumph of life, hope, and human spirit. And in every heart one truth shone brightly: humanity was extraordinary, unstoppable, and unbreakable.